So very good evening to everyone who have joined this particular workshop. And I thank you all for joining us. I thank Professor Mondal for agreeing to conduct this workshop focused on entrepreneurship because it is the need of the hour for our country and economy. So Professor Mondal is a faculty in the RMSOEE, which is the Rajendra Mishra School of Entrepreneurship. And he has several patents to his name. He had been awarded the gold medal for best innovation awarded by Lockheed Martin, Stanford University, and University of Texas Austin, and FICCI. And we have a lot to learn from his expertise and experience in the area of entrepreneurship. And so the stage is all yours, Professor Mondal. You're muted. You are muted at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Professor Bandapadhyay, for all the kind words. I hope I can meet your expectation. Is my slide visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, it's full screen now.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. A very good evening to all the audience, and thanks to the organizer for giving me this opportunity. I hope that I should be able to do justice to the expectation. My topic is Idea to Innovation and Entrepreneurship. This is being organized under the aegis of MNFIC Innovation Center at IIT Kharagpur. This center was created by the donation of Mr. Arjun Malhotra, one of our alumnus. And he's one of the most illustrious alumnus. We are thankful to him as well. As it has already mentioned, as has been already mentioned, I am at Rajendra Mishra School of Engineering and Entrepreneurship. These are, in a nutshell, the topics I'm going to cover. I'm not going to spend time on this. I'll do a bit of a digression just to create some kind of a backdrop of my discussion. It's the time of India. India is at the threshold of emerging as a global economy, or maybe the top economy. India used to be a top economy, the top economy in the world. We had the largest GDP at some point of time, 1300 years back. Also, we and China were the major economies of the world. Due to invasion and all that, we have fallen back, but now we are fighting back, and we are creating great strides all over the world in all spheres of business. We have become the global pharmacy. The pandemic has proven that. In two-wheeler industry, we are the global leader. IT industry, automobile component industry, and now we'll become the automobile industry as well. And the talk of the town now is that we are emerging as the granary of the world. We are supplying foods to almost every country in the world. Europe, perhaps not US, perhaps except that, perhaps every country. Now, why this topic? Why we are at idea to innovation and to entrepreneurship? Why this topic? There are many myths. I'm not covering the myths, but I'm just busting only one myth. Many businesses fail, and we think that entrepreneurs fail. And that is why we become afraid to start business, because statistically speaking, about 90% of the entrepreneurs fail. But fact is that entrepreneurs do not fail. A startup fails, but then entrepreneurs pivot either with a new product with the same startup or maybe with another startup. So they never failed. And even if some entrepreneurs fall back, meaning there are three kinds of falling or two kinds of falling. One is or failing, fail often, fail early, fail forward. Fail often means you should fail quickly so that you can do more experiment within given time, within given resources. Fail often, fail early, meaning if you fail early, you will end up not spending so much of resources, you will save resources. But fail forward, meaning you pivot and restart with the experience that you gain. And that is very important. You should fail forward. And most of the entrepreneurs fail forward. Whosoever fail, they fail forward, meaning they restart with the experience that they gain, and with the knowledge they gain, they restart with another product or same product, they refine, etc., etc. They don't fail backward. That is the point. Even if some entrepreneurs fail backward, meaning that they don't restart, they are valuable asset for all the recruiters. If they go to job market, they are regarded as experienced people. Experienced not as an engineer, experienced as a CEO. They become CEO material because they started a company. They have the experience of looking at a company from the top, like a helicopter view about an organization. So they are highly valuable to any company, startups or established. So there is nothing to discourage us to start a startup. Even if we failed, we are not going to miss anything, not any opportunity. Now, I'll show you the data. Majority of the startups fail because of reasons which can be avoided. Like many startups produce something that customers don't want. They build the product without consultation with the customer. This is called validated learning. You build a minimum viable prototype, which is kind of a early product without much aesthetics, just the minimum features that gives your customers a perception about the superiority of various features that defines your value proposition. Now I'm introducing two terms. One is minimum viable product, another is value proposition. Let me explain. Value proposition is a bundle of features of your product that differentiate your product from those of the competitors, for which the target customers will not go to competitors to buy competitors' product. They'll come to buy your products. Those are the defining features of your product that gives a perception of superior value for their money. So they will reject the existing products and they will come to buy your products. These bundle of features are known as value proposition. Of course, price is one of the factors. If your price is too high, unless you are Apple or somebody, then it's difficult to really attract customer. Number one. Number two, minimum viable prototype. In fact, that should come first. Minimum viable prototype is an early prototype with features that defines the superiority of your product. Vis-a-vis those are the competitors. Now, you go to the customer with this product so that customers can make some kind of a validation or some kind of an assessment about the suitability of your product. If they think that your product is better in respect of those features, they will tell you that, yes, I would like to buy this product. Or they will tell you that, yes, I like those features, maybe 1-2 features, but I don't like the other features, so that you can come back and refine your product and again go back to the customers until the customers say that, yes, if I get this product, I am ready to bring out my purse from my pocket, wallet from my pocket, and pay you for this product. How much the customers is ready to pay will give you an impression whether if you manufacture this product, this is going to be economically sellable to the existing customers who are liking them. Majority of the entrepreneurs fail to do that. Particularly technocrats, they think that I know the technology. I am also a customer, so I know everything well. So they don't think of validating their ideas. Idea has to be converted into something tangible, that is the prototype, and then it has to be validated by customers. Once it is done, you are ready to go. Now, there are many misconceptions. I'm not at the time, because of the interest of the time, I won't be able to discuss many of them. But one particular feature or parameters about the current generation of entrepreneurs, I must mention, that is majority, if not all, think that valuation is the most important metric of any startup. And if the valuation of my company is going higher and higher, that is the best thing to achieve, and that is my success. That defines my success. whereas this is absolutely a wrong concept. In fact, now the bubble has started bursting. Like Paytm, they have issued equity share to public at 2,150 rupees, even though they are not making a single paisa of profit. And now the share is selling for 500 rupees. I think it is not worth even for 200 rupees. So in a way, this is some kind of a financial fraud. So we have to come out of this mentality, because why I say this is almost like a fraud, because ordinary investor who may be middle class or maybe even lower class, economically lower class, they have invested money at 2,150 and now it is worth just 500 rupees. Still, I don't understand why it should be 500 rupees. Even this quarter, they incurred loss, more loss than the previous quarter. So we have to come out of this. What is valuable is the value, not the valuation. We must understand this once for all. Are we creating value for our customers? If we are creating value, increasingly better value, we are moving towards success. Success is not a milestone. Success is a way of living, meaning you have to continuously target to create better customer satisfaction moving forward perennially, infinitely. There is no, as long as your company is a going concern, you have to try to improve customer satisfaction. Mind it, I'm not saying try to improve your product, try to come up with new technology or anything. Nothing matters as much. Customers satisfaction matters. You know, there are business houses or businesses that are selling human poops to customer on Amazon. You can give a Google search human poops and you will find Amazon on Amazon platform. Some people are selling human poops, human excreta, and it is selling. So if customers are buying, there is a business. Who cares what customer purchase? As long as customers do not complain, as long as they come back again and again, repeat customers, you have a business and you should continue to do that. I'm not saying you should sell human poops, but that is the bottom line, that as long as customers are satisfied, we are on track. The fact is, valuation is no indicator of success, but value is. Nobody, whatsoever people say. In fact, investors like venture capitalists are also driven by this wrong metric. They keep on investing in companies whose valuation is going up. And if some company is not investing in that kind of company, they feel that I'm missing the bus and they will run with their purse to invest in that. It's a wrong concept. And the bubble is busting. Everywhere we hear about layoff and all that, these people are to be blamed. Not really, it's not because of economic slowdown or anything. Okay, now coming to the topic of the day, that is idea. How important are ideas for a startup? Is the idea most important? Victor Hugo famously said, nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. If your idea, today is the right time for your idea, nothing in the world is more powerful for that. Like say, monkeypox. If you have a vaccine for this or a treatment for this, you are poised to be a billionaire. You are going to create a unicorn or a decacorn moving forward very soon. So the time for that has come. Like for COVID, many people became rich. In fact, Moderna is making $1,000 of profit every second, $1,000. So estimate how many seconds are there in a year, how much money they are making. So idea, therefore, is very important. But then a famous entrepreneur, Bill Gross, has provided data, empirical evidence. He is a very successful entrepreneur. He started more than 100 companies. At least 10 of them are unicorns. Some of them are decacorns. So we have every reason to trust him. He provided data from his own experience and from others. The timing is the most important factor. Then comes founders, then idea, then business model. We say execution. He didn't mention that. And funding. These are the 5 most important pillars for success of startups. But don't get me wrong. See, if I say these are 5 most important and Bill Gross said timing is the most important. Doesn't mean that if you are focusing only on time and not on the idea, not on business model, you're going to be successful. Nothing like that. All these 5 factors together have to be satisfactory. Only then have to be taken care of. Only then you are going to be successful. You overlook a single one and it is going to collapse. That will be explained in my next slide. See, success is like you have a mast for holding your flag, something like that. And the mast actually consists of several small part of the pillar. So you just remove any pillar, it's going to fall by its own weight. It's not going to remain. So that is why timing, founders, idea, execution, funding, everything is so very important for success of an enterprise. Now, how to generate ideas? The $1,000,000 question is, I don't have any idea. How do I come up with an idea? And this is the proven method of finding an idea. Just listen carefully. You have to go out and move around, maybe in the countryside, in the city, in the metro, in towns, everywhere. You have to just go move around. You may not even go out. You just enter into your kitchen, look at your mom cooking and try to understand the pains that she must be undergoing or going through. You have to empathize with her. What is the pain she is suffering from? If you can really identify a pain, and if you see that this pain actually is acute and many other people are also suffering from the same pain, I mean the market will be very large. If I come up with a solution, you already have an idea. Now build a product and then get it validated by your mother first, and then by your neighbors. And then finally you move out, get validated. You have a technology, you have a startup idea to be a successful entrepreneur. If you don't get it inside, go out, look around. People are suffering all around. People are suffering everywhere. You just go out, you fall in a queue, you will stand in a queue for making a railway ticket. You will think, oh my God, is this the way people make railway tickets? I'm going to miss my train. Most of the people will say, I'm going to miss my train. People cut short. Why? Because they are going to miss the train. So there is a pain. There are pains everywhere. So you have to go out, find a pain that you can solve. Like Blake Mycoskie. Blake Mycoskie is from US. He went to Argentina and to South Africa, and he found that children are going to school without shoes because they are very poor. And he thought, oh my God, this is so painful. So he opened his shoes and started walking on this hot sun, and the road actually is melting. He could not walk for a minute. So he realized that this is a place, this is the opportunity. I must do something for these little kids who are going to school. But then you have to know whether a solution is economically viable. Like why these children or students are going to school without shoes, because they can't afford. I manufacture shoes. They will not. I sell it for 5 rupees. They will say, I don't have 5 rupees. So how do I come up with a business about this? And then look at how he actually came up with a solution. This is what is innovation. Innovation is not just technology. Innovation is not just business model. Business model innovation is a wide, broad spectrum word. So I'll revise my statement. Innovation does not mean just technology and service innovation. It can be anything that gives you a new business. So what Blake Mycoskie did, he came back, he contacted some cheap shoe manufacturer, not cheap shoe manufacturer, some manufacturer who can supply on wholesale basis. He came up with a wonderful story. This is very important. You have to design, or you have to come up with an idea of a wonderful story. Story sells. A story is necessary everywhere. You need to tell a story to your children to make them serious about their studies, about their health. You have to tell a story to everybody that you encounter for them to give you, say, milkman. So you have to tell them a story so that they give you pure milk. Likewise, for startups, for businesses, a story is everything, almost everything. Like Blake Mycoskie, came up with a story. It's not a story, it's fact. He told customers that, look, there are children in South Africa or in Africa and Argentina and India who cannot afford a pair of shoes. They go to school without shoes. If you buy a pair of shoes from me, for every pair, I'm going to donate one pair to these children. And I'm going to connect you to those children who are going to buy, who are going to take a free pair from me, so that there is absolute clarity and absolute information about, there's no hidden information, transparency. So that was a huge success. Most of the people thought, I will buy a pair of shoes in any case. So why not buy from him? And in the process, I'm going to donate a pair to a poor people. You know, nowadays, majority of the people, particularly the current generation, are highly social concern, society concern. They want to do something for the society. They want to do something for sustainable world, so that, you know, if they want to take everybody together and move ahead. So Black Microscope was very successful. You can give a search and read his story. His shoe brand is Tom's, TOMS. And he has donated more than 10 million shoes by now. When I read the story, it was 2019. By then, he donated more than 10 million shoes. So you have to design so many things. You have to go out, look at people and see their pain. You have to understand how difficult is the pain by empathizing. I'll define empathize a little later. And then you have to come up with a solution that is affordable by the target audience. This is a wonderful example of the entire, ecosystem of startup, starting from idea to how you manufacture them. Then your story as to how to connect with customer so that they come to you without much advertisement. Acquiring customer is the most difficult part. People say that acquiring single customer requires about lakhs of rupees. Just one customer. I don't know how much of that is a story, but what is the customer acquisition cost? The advertisement money that you spend, the many other promotional scheme that you spend, etc. And that is how Amazon incurred losses for 10 years. After 10 years, they found profit. But then that time they acquired so much customers that they don't spend so much money for customer acquisition and they were in profit. And there are umpteen number of examples. I did not have space to talk about them. Fanindra Sama wanted to go to Bangalore from Bangalore to Hyderabad. He was working in Infosys. When he arrived in bus stand, he found there was no ticket, means there was no seat. Bus was fully packed. There was no way he could go to Hyderabad, and that was Pongal time. He found many people are stranded in the bus stand. He had to go back home, go back to his quarters. But then he did not grumble. He thought, this is a great opportunity. This is a distress. And the distress actually brings great opportunity. So he sat with friends, he pitched before them. Everybody agreed that this will give this is a great business opportunity. Let us make an app using which people can book bus ticket well in advance, so that whenever they will go to bus stand, they know that I have a seat booked in so and so bus. So Red Bus was born. They sold this company for $165 million or so to IBIBO. Whatever that is not important. See, adversity comes with opportunity. We must realize that. And then we must come up with ideas looking at the adversities. You cannot sit back in Himalayas and then look for opportunity, because you will not know what the problem is. First thing is you must know the problem. Only then generating idea is relevant. That is why to generate idea, first thing is to understand the pain. The pain of not getting a taxi on demand gave birth to Uber. The pain of finding the nearest restaurant created Zomato. Lack of baby safe product led to Jessica Alba, who is an actress, successful actress. But when she had the first child, she went to shop and she was looking for baby safe product. Shopkeepers gave her the product. She brought it back, took it to some laboratory, and they tested. They found carcinogenic elements in that. It's not baby safe. None of the products were baby safe. So she thought that is the disruption she wanted to take the advantage of and then create an opportunity for herself. She started the Honest Company after a lot of experiment and then sells baby safe products. And she quickly became a unicorn, meaning valuation of more than $1 billion. Jessica Alba's company is doing great at this point of time. The last story of this slide is Tilak Mehta is a child. He is 16 or not even 16, I think 14 years old when he started this company. One evening, he was waiting for his dad to come and to bring a book from his friend because he could not afford to buy books, but his dad was tired. So he thought what to do, how to bring that book. And then idea came to him. He started Paper and Parcel. It's kind of a courier company to bring books and things like that from one end of a city to another end. And that company became 100 crore rupees venture within a very short time. And it was started by a child. And he is using the dabbawalas for carrying those parcels and many others. He have recruited many people. Whatever the point is that most of the successful entrepreneurs got idea when they suffered a pain or they saw somebody suffering a pain close by. So you have to look around, find pains, and then you can actually come up with ideas. Then you have to think out of the box. You have to adopt some lateral thinking, meaning you should not think in a very traditional manner that 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Therefore, etc. etc. You take a design book and it says the first point of design is what is the tolerance or whatever is the factor of safety. You start from there. You are not going to get ideas. You have to throw away everything and then start thinking absolute on an empty slate, empty canvas, and then start drawing something that comes to your mind. You will come up with umpteen number of ideas. You select the one that you think the best. You start fabricating a prototype. Without prototype, your idea will never get validated even to yourself. If you think, suppose you are trying to build something and you have jotted down a sketch, you will think that this is a successful design of a product. I am going to make it and sell it. Then you build a prototype. You will find majority of your hypothesis or majority of your assumptions went wrong and it is not giving the result that were expected. So it's gone. And you should not expect. If you expect every time to be correct, then you are going to feel frustrated and you will block your mind from doing something. Let me move fast. You have to question the status quo, meaning whatever way people are doing, you have to question that. Let us move fast. See, one problem that most of us encounter is whenever you try to think of, OK, everybody is becoming entrepreneurs. I have to become an entrepreneur. What kind of idea I should look for? Then you'll think everything has been solved. Where is the problem that I should solve? This is absolutely a wrong concept. We have learned to prevent malaria for the last 50 years, not only prevent and cure, but still annually there are 200 million malaria patients in the world. So which means there are so much to do still. So if we think that we have already sorted it out, we have not done anything. Google came after about 10 years of Yahoo, and the first search engine was Lycos, that is owned by an Indian company. They are nowhere to be seen. Even Yahoo is a far behind Google. Google came after 10 years or more, and Google is a very successful company because of execution. So it's not if all those founders of Google would have thought that search engines have already made and so many people have made it. So what is the point of starting another company? That is not the idea. There is always a better solution. You must believe that there is always a better solution in the horizon and you will come up with a better solution. If you still have doubt, let me give you some statistics at the cost of time. See, whatever changes we have seen in technology domain before say 1900, all of them together were less than the changes we found in 20th century. And whatever changes that happened in this world till the year 2000, more than that is going to happen during the 21st century. And perhaps by the end of 21st century, whatever changes happen, we shall have almost in 10-15 years, we shall have so many technologies occurring in the next century, 22nd century perhaps. It is changing so fast. How it is changing? Because new technologies are coming. Who are bringing? Some entrepreneurs are bringing. That tells us that there is always opportunity and it is never going to empty. There will never be a time when people will think everything is done, there is nothing to be done. How worth is the idea? Many entrepreneurs think that I have a great idea and it is $1 billion idea. But know for a fact, and it has already become a cliche, like ideas are dime a dozen, meaning you can buy 1 dozen of idea for a dime, meaning for a naya paisa. There are many portals where ideas are uploaded free of cost for people to copy, like huffbakery.com. You just go there, you don't have to even log in. You just download ideas and implement. Nobody cares. It is there for copying. Even if you don't believe that, you try to sell some of your ideas. You will find there is no takers for ideas. You may have $1 billion ideas. You just tell people that, look, this is the idea you want to buy. You will, chances are that it will be difficult to find a taker. Of course, not all ideas are useless, but then there are millions of ideas. Out of them, 1, 2, 3, 4 will be great. And if you have something like that, don't waste time. You don't have to tell anybody. Start doing the minimum viable prototype. Satisfy yourself that the idea is worth pursuing. Only then you pursue. If you are too focused to the idea, but you don't move forward with that, you go nowhere. Take it from me. There are many people, I have met many people who thought they have wonderful ideas, but they could not tell anybody, and they're sitting on them for years, decades. And someday they find that somebody has already done something with that. So he thinks, oh my God, I have missed an opportunity. The most important in this whole story is the product market fit. You may have an idea that is not even worth a dime. A dozen is worth a dime. But an idea will be valuable if you build a prototype and can come up to the product market fit. If there is a product market fit, that may be a $1 billion idea. Now there will be people who will be willing to pay you $1 billion either to buy or to invest in your company and then move ahead, even if there is no revenue. So how to look for product market fit? As I said, value proposition is one of the most important criteria. The other is, are people crying for the solution, or people think that it is nice to have your product, or it is must to have your product, or some people saying, I want your product yesterday, meaning they're crying for it. Then if you are not getting some people like that, what is the utilities of your product? Is it more than available product? What kind of customer experience are you giving with this product? I'll explain customer experience in several of my slides moving forward. How to generate ideas and move ahead. So design thinking is touted as one of the tools for generating ideas and for creating innovation. I'm not really fully satisfied with this entire statement, but what design thinking does is it gives you a platform to systematically approach innovation and to generate many ideas using this platform. But then you have to generate the idea. Design thinking will not give you ideas, and generating ideas is the crux of the thing. Once you can generate ideas, there are many like me who generate ideas, but then they don't go anywhere because after idea, they build something and they forget about it. Once it is done, they feel that I have already done. There is nothing more to do. But design thinking actually puts you on a systematic path, and then you move ahead systematically, and finally you have a validated product. First one is empathize. Once you empathize, then you define the problem. Once you can define the problem completely, only then it is easy for you to come up with many ideas. Once you have ideas, you select the best one through brainstorming, through discussion with friends. That this design thinking actually propounds many process of doing this. And if you are part of a workshop, you definitely know. And once you select one particular idea or maybe two or three, you have to prototype. Without prototyping, there is no validation even to yourself that your idea will actually work. Once you prototype, you realize there are lacunas, you come back again, you refine your product again. After refinement, you will find, you will be surprised that still it is not working. So after several rounds, it will work. Then you take it to customer, show it to them. Chances are they will say, what nonsense, I don't like it. That is not important. You should not get disheartened. You should tell them, okay, fine, I'm happy that you said this, but can you tell me what feature you dislike the most and what feature you slightly like? There will be something that you like. And then gradually you get to know, come back, improve why they don't like, try to improve that, and don't approach to just one customer or one user. You have to talk to several because people are biased. So approach to maybe 15 customers, 15 users, and then statistically you analyze which features are liked by most of the people, etc., etc. Now the first step is empathize. I tell this story in most of the cases. One story is about Blake Mykoski, who sorry, who empathized with those children who are going to school by opening his shoes and feeling the pain that was felt by them. Another example, little long story, but I'll finish it in 1 minute. There was a time when in a hospital in Nepal, children were dying, newborn were dying left and right. They did not get a solution from anybody. Eventually, a team from Stanford University came who were expert on design thinking. They also did not have any clue as to how to what is wrong with these children. They are born, they are dead. After a while, they are dead. 100% means there was no success story. So they thought we have to empathize with these children. But then how do you empathize with the newborn? He cannot speak. He or she cannot speak. So somebody said, I will empathize. How? I'll become a newborn. What did he do? He removed his clothes and told people that put me on the stretcher and take me along with the baby wherever you are taking the baby after it is born. And then they started carrying both of them together to the incubation cell where babies are incubated. They're given an atmosphere of mother's womb. On the way, there was a corridor, and at the corridor, it was chilling cold. And this guy jumped and said, Eureka! What is that? Actually, when all the babies were taken to incubation cell, they were crossing this corridor when babies were exposed to so much cold that they're getting such a trauma that they cannot survive. They cannot come out of the trauma. So they could define this problem completely. Once you define a problem like this completely, it becomes easy for you to make a prototype, come up with ideas. How they did this? They stitched something like a pillowcase, something like a pillowcase. They call it embrace. And they slip the baby in the case. It is made of wool. They slip the baby in the case and then take the baby to the other room. Fatality reduced to 0%. And the embrace cost only 250 rupees. How could they do it? Because they could empathize. What happened after empathizing? They could define the problem. And if you can define the problem completely, you can come up with nice ideas. You don't have to come up, then you don't have to come up with hundreds of ideas. Just 1, 2, 3, 4 will do. Then you prototype and validate, you find Eureka. Okay. Now, for ideas, we are still at ideas. For ideas for a startup, what wall you can do? I think I should move fast. See, you can come up with technology ideas like the one that I have just mentioned. You can add some visual aesthetics to an existing product. You can give better maintenance to customer that if you buy this product, say you are selling air conditioner or refrigerator or anything, you just at the time of purchase, you tell them that for 5 years maintenance is free, as somebody will come on the spot and do the maintenance within 2 days. And if you can really do that, people will buy your product than anybody else's, because they will know that if it is not working, these guys are there. Resale value, utility means you can add a lot of utilities, like look at this torch light. It can be charged with solar panel that is embedded on this. It can be used to break your car window in case you are stuck up. It has a magnet that can hold it. It has a compass. If you are stuck up somewhere in a forest, you will find you can navigate using that. So there are so many utilities. So if you are buying a torchlight and if you think that I may have all these context in my life, you will try to buy this. But then if you suppose you insert a kitchen knife, perhaps that will not be suitable. So people will think this is an obnoxious thing, they'll not buy. So you have to think which is synergies. Now there are many more things like logistic. You deliver at the door, or say things like there might be many things that will give customer a reason to buy your product, not somebody, so not competitors. Most important is one of the most important that nowadays people are looking for is user experience. You just buy something, you open it and you say, wow, I didn't expect this. And if you can give any customer that kind of an experience through whatever possible, that customer become a loyal customer for life. Not only that, he will go around and propagate that message. He will tell everybody that, look, I bought this product and this is like this. I got this experience. He or she will flaunt possession of this product. They will think that, wow, this is wonderful. Other people will feel jealous of him, something like that. People actually do that. If you buy something and then tell another guy that, this product is good, and that guy purchases, you feel proud that I recommended, that is why he bought. So you feel proud. Not only proud, you become loyal to that brand. So if you can give good experience to people, people become loyal without any additional expenses. Then comes storytelling. I talked about this guy, Black Mykoski. There are many other stories. And over delivery. If you promise something, if you can deliver more, people will become almost like slave. They will never think of buying any other product other than your product. So all these, whether it's a story, whether it's resale value, whether it is delivery, whether it is whatever that you can think of as value creation, these are all part of design. You make new design. Design has infinite aspects, infinite possibilities of making a design. Mahatma Gandhi is regarded as one of the greatest designer to walk on the planet. Why? What did he design? He designed non-violent movement. What is the design parameters? How did he come about it? How could he design that? He designed it because, and the cause or say motivation is like this. When he landed means from Africa to India, Indian National Congress told him that you lead the freedom struggle. He agreed, but then he thought, let me understand my wherewithals. Let me see who will fight for me. So he went to villages to meet the villagers. He said, fight for me. I'll give you independence, freedom. Villagers told him, we don't understand what is freedom. We don't need that now. What we need before freedom is food, because we are hungry. So Gandhiji realized that this is not going to help us. I'm not going into the controversy of fight between non-violent and violent and all that. These are live and I'm not on any side. But then I'm just trying to give a point about design. We can design a shirt, or we can design a car. We can design everything. We can design even a story. We can design similarly a movement like this one. So he thought, how do I feed this many people? It's a country with the largest population. So he came up with this Chorkha idea. It was not his invention, but he found people who can build this, etc., etc. So this is how you have to be a designer to build superior value proposition. Value should not be necessarily in technology, necessarily in packaging, necessarily in delivery. It can be many, many things, but you have to come up with this design. Only then you can actually win, because design gives new meaning. Say, for example, look at this thermostat. This has been manufactured by Nest, N-E-S-T. Nest, because of this single thermostat, a company became a decacorn, meaning tens of billion-dollar company. Before this is just a thermostat. You put that on your wall and it controls your gadget, particularly air conditioner and many other gadgets. Before this product was available, it was just a box with some knobs. You do cat and you go from one regulation to another regulation. But here it's so smooth, there is no sound at all, and it is continuous. You can regulate from 75 to 75.1, 75.2, something like that. Infinite number of options. So when this came, people surprised, it gave pleasant surprise to people, so much so that it became the talk of the town, and everybody threw away their existing product and run after this. It became a fashion statement. And if somebody has this in their home, they are treated as, they wish to be treated as premium people. They have a Nest thermostat. You visit somebody's house and there is a Nest thermostat. You'll come back and you'll be talking to your friends. You know what? They have a Nest thermostat design, and it doesn't have any technology inside. It is just aesthetic design. Of course, there are some bit of technologies like that rheostat is inbuilt that regulates, but you can also do that. Even a first year engineering student can build one. But the look and feel, the way it is operated, everything together, it is so nice. You cannot explain, but people are ready to pay thousands of dollars for this. And that is how they made so much of profit. So that is what is design. Design gives new experience. When you buy that, you feel wow, and that gives experience, and that experience gives premium value. Artificially high profit. Like, look at this candle. It is being sold at Amazon.in. Nowadays, nobody uses candle because it's a kind of a old product. Nobody wants to use that. But then this candle is selling for 20,000. I found some selling for 1 lakh. Same candle. There's nothing much added ingredients in that. All that is there is, it is packaged in a nice looking bottle, glass bottle. Number one. Number two, it has wonderful aroma. You come back from office tired after a day's work. You lighten this and put it on the corner of a house. The light will glow very soft and the room will be filled with aroma. And then you put some music, you feel within an hour you are rejuvenated. And for that, you are ready to pay 20,000 rupees for a piece. That is how people make money. I talked about human poop. It's like, the cost will be something like 100 rupees, 200 rupees, or maybe 500, but they're selling for 20,000. That is the value of giving experience. There is a difference between design driven innovation and technology innovation. With design driven innovation means innovation driven by design. You can create huge value for customer and for the company. This is a kettle. Kettle is used for boiling water to make tea, and there are umpteen number of brands available. This company, Alessi bird kettle, they have put a plastic bird at the nozzle. What it does is when the water will boil, the steam will come out and there is a whistle inside, and it will create a sound and the bird will start dancing. It will look like the bird actually singing. The singing kettle. The moment one guy bought it, the market actually started running for this kettle, and this company sold millions of that. Nothing much, just a plastic bird, and inside there is a gadget that even a children flute has that gadget. When you pass air through that, a sound is created. So this is something that is the kind of experience that people, anything that people attach value, aesthetic value, esteem, or whatever. And then they are ready to pay more money. The moment they are ready to pay money, you have a market, you have customer, you have everything. This is another example of experience. There's a company called Nintendo. They manufacture gaming console. Gaming console market is dominated by Microsoft, Sony, and some big brand houses. When some big companies dominate a market, it's very difficult to enter into that market. You can only enter if you can disrupt. Look how they disrupted this market through a different kind of experience. Earlier, so long, this computer games is regarded as a kind of a boring game. Children hook onto computer, they look at that, they don't have any physical activities, kind of a morose activity. And parents will be telling them, don't do that. Go to the field and play some game so that there is some body activity, physical activities. Now, Nintendo came up with a game console called Wii, which can be operated to play a game only if you play the game. Meaning, if you're running, you can play a competition with your children, with your grandparents also. All four generation can play this game sitting in the drawing room itself. So it's full of physical activity. The parents will never tell the children, don't play this, because they're playing it physically. Like you're playing cricket, they'll play cricket in computer, or say basketball or something. But then there is physical movement. So they have changed the way people perceive computer games to be. And within no time, Nintendo became very popular and they made so much of money. Particularly when you give better experience to customer, that is very difficult to emulate, meaning copy. You come up with a product like, say, some company in US, Warby Parker, they sold sunglasses or eyewear online. They had some value proposition. And some company in India like Lenskart, they just copied that business model started. They also became successful. But now suppose you start another company like that, it's very difficult to sustain because they're already established. But other than that, if you create some better experience to customer, that is very difficult to copy. Like Nest thermostat, they are still supreme, and this is the brand. Of course, there are many Me Too companies, but it's very difficult to penetrate into the market where Nest are already dominating. You can actually design stories. Let me tell you one example. I think many of my audience know about it, but for others who are new, say there is a company called Huggies. When they were not selling baby diapers, they are from Canada. So when they thought of launching that product, Pamper was the leading brand. So they thought entering into that market will be difficult. So they laid their hands on a story that if you hug babies, their vitals improve. So they thought every baby should be hugged by somebody or the other. If mother hugs the baby, then baby's vital improves even more, and they create a lasting bond with the baby. So they came up with this story and they published this story in different newspaper, not as an advertisement, almost like a news reporting. But at the bottom, they said this report has been brought by Huggies. We manufacture diaper. When would-be moms read that story, they thought, wow, we didn't know this. We must hug our babies all the time as much as possible. But unwittingly, unknowingly, they also read the tagline at the bottom that we manufacture Huggies diaper. So they thought Huggies, oh my God, this must be the best diaper in the world because they are telling me that we must hug our babies for all this. So Huggies became a household name. They could acquire about 35% of the market share in the first year itself. So you have to be able to design that kind of stories to connect with customers, and it should resonate with their psyche. If it resonates with their liking, with their aspirations, nothing like that. Everything is about storytelling, brand, look, feel, everything that we do are about hormones. There is nothing called beauty. There is nothing called liking. We are a collection of a bunch of hormones that determines everything. You meet somebody for the first time. you like something, you dislike many of the things. But if you like even one element of the person, some dopamine or serotonin or oxytocin or something will secret. You meet the guy the next time, you like something else little bit, and more hormone secrets. And in the process, the more you meet, the more hormone secrets. That is how we fall in love with people. We think that it's a it's a relationship for several generation perhaps, or क्या बोलते हैं उसको, जन्म जन्म का relation, but everything is about hormone. And then we forget about what we don't dislike. That comes when all those uncertainty vanishes, and then we suddenly realize that I didn't actually dislike many of the things, but our hormone, our mind, which is the collective collection of the hormones, or collective manifestation of the hormones, that actually tells us that you should like this or you should not like this. We teach our mind through this process. Similarly, a brand, or means the marketers use a marketer uses this very aspect of human being. They try to tell a story, and this dopamine serotonin starts secreting. And the more they see that product, that story resonates in their mind, and then they fall in love with that product. The more and more they become almost like a slave, and then they started buying. And that is why storytelling is so very important in every sphere of life, particularly for a startup. You have to come up with good story about your product. You tell a story to your employees, the employees will become more dedicated, more passionate about your company, your product. They will sell more. You just tell them that, we are doing something for the benefit of this, and if our product is not there, people are going to suffer. And if that resonates with them, they will become more devoted. You don't have to tell them that don't quit early or etc. etc. So everything will be wonderful. Okay, I'll try to move fast. When you think of ideas and think of building new products, there are means you will make two assumptions. One is you'll have some hypothesis that based on your experience, that if I build this idea forward, take this idea forward, then there are people who will buy, and there are sufficient number of people for me to become a successful entrepreneur, because I have to sell more. Only if I can sell more, then there will be more customer, they'll pay me more. So one hypothesis is people will buy. Another hypothesis is people will buy at a certain price, otherwise I'll not be able to make money. Why these are hypotheses? Because there are some data, because this product exists in some form or the other. So these are hypotheses. There will be some leap of faith. What is a leap of faith? Leap of faith is your hypothesis without any data. It's not backed by data. So it's just an assumption, just a gut feel that people will do it. If I manufacture and sell, there is no other product, I think people will like it and buy. But then you have to follow the process of product market fit and validated learning, meaning you have to make something and then take it to customer, and then with that experience you should come back, and this is a cyclical process. You should follow that. And leap of faith is that where there is no data. Like when iPod was launched by Apple, they had this leap of faith. What was that leap of faith? Was that people will download music by paying money, and that actually factuated, meaning that people actually paid money. So Apple mentions that in many forums that we had this leap of faith because there was no record available that people are ready to download music by making payment. And that is why iPod became such a crushing success. They made tens of billions of dollars using that. I'll not talk about invention and innovation. Invention is doing something new, which is commercially relevant. Innovation is taking that forward for the benefit of the people. Like putting innovation in a commercial context is putting invention in a commercial context. Making the invention available to the target audience is innovation. How to identify a problem, how to find solution. I think I have already covered that several times. This is an example of doing that. Like when I build this idea, I have to first Dyson was a mechanic, just almost like a polytechnic graduate, is a diploma holder. He used to work in a factory, in a machine shop, but he came up. He used to operate a, a vacuum cleaner, but periodically, every day, 2-3 times he has to remove the dirt outside intermittently because dirt gets accumulated and the machine gets choked. So look at this. He thought there has to be some solution. Why should I go out again and again? What do we normally think? Whenever there is a problem like this, we normally think we have to bear with it. So let us go and drop it here, drop it, and then come back. Majority of us think that way, that let us bear with the situation. We surrender. But there are some, very few, who do not surrender. Whenever they have a problem, they have a disturbing situation, they think there is because as I am feeling bored, many other people are also feeling bored. So if I can come up with a solution that solves this problem, I can have a business. So he was looking for this. And then someday he was sitting in a sawmill and he found there was no dust in the sawmill, even though the mill is operating. He was surprised that sawmill should be full of dust. He inquired. They said, we have some kind of a precipitator, some kind of a back filter, and that is catching all the dust and there is no dust outside. He was surprised and then he went inside and then he tried to see how is it working. He came back. He made a vacuum cleaner with that technology. He made 5,127 prototypes. Unbelievable. Before it became commercially viable. So he kept on making and making and making. Finally, he became successful. Now his company is valued tens of billions of dollars. How does this innovation process operate in our brain? Our brain has two compartments. One is left, the right. Left is cognitive skill. Left is responsible for cognitive skill. Right is responsible for creative skill. So if somebody is very creative, we say that his right side of the brain is sharp. If somebody is sharp in cognitive, left side. So means historically speaking, or say even globally speaking, the education system across the world tends to promote the cognitive skill part, meaning the left side of the brain. Why? Because we have books to study in every class, and then you read the book to understand what kind of knowledge that somebody has created there and wrote. So you try to understand that. So that means your cognitive skill get churned in the process and your cognitive skill becomes sharper and sharper. In absence of similar things for creative skill, our creative skill normally does not improve over the years unless aging makes some changes. But we don't normally exercise. A musician exercise, an artist exercise, a technology developer exercise, a writer exercise because they need creativity. So their creativity improves over the years. You talk to any actor, any artist, you'll find that their capability has gone up again, moving forward by every passing day or maybe every passing years. Why? Because they exercise. So what is necessary is to exercise both sides of our brain. That apart, we must know that our brain has conscious and subconscious part of the brain. Conscious part is only 5%, whereas subconscious part is 95%. People say that we don't use subconscious brain. That is not right. Our subconscious does more work than conscious work. That is why there is 95%. When you have a problem, you give everything to the subconscious. Subconscious takes over the problem and then it transmit information from one side of the brain to the other side. It kind of sift through all the knowledges, reservoir of knowledges that you have acquired over the years, both creative and cognitive, and then try to match a solution. And it's a continuous process because subconscious never sleep. The problem that you give priority, the subconscious understand that this is the priority problem. So it will keep on doing, permutation, combination, moving from one side to another, there are stages that people perceive that it involves some stages like idea germination. That is the seeding stage when you get a lot of ideas. Then preparation, meaning you become conscious about the problem, the solution. That's what design thinking called definition, defining the problem. Then incubation, meaning that time the communication starts from one side to the other side, meaning the brain tries to inquire as to what kind of knowledge you have. Is there anything that is similar to the problem at hand? And then it comes to the creative side. Can you build something new, etc., etc.? Then suddenly there will be some eureka moment when your subconscious will come up with something tangible, something meaningful, and then immediately pump back to the conscious brain. Only then you realize the eureka moment. Eureka, I got it. Whether you are sleeping or you are awake, whether you are in a meeting or you are somewhere else, you suddenly feel that you have got this idea. Suppose you are sleeping, you become awake, and then you think that you have got this solution in your dream. It is not your dream. It is your subconscious that was working tirelessly all through. And then when it could match some solution, it pumps you the solution. It's an intermittent work, meaning they will continue to do that. Even later also they'll come, your subconscious will come up with another idea, and then it will give you, and then you continuously sharpen that, you evaluate that. Maybe you start prototyping. Even without prototyping, you try to sketch and see whether there are conflicting or mutually conflicting components, or whether they will come out okay, etc., etc. All those. This communication in the subconscious, when the subconscious is taking control of everything and doing communication between left side and right side and try to match, try to come up with something new, is called synaptics. So it is everything, whatever words you see here, I copied it from somewhere. I could have written that. I forgot to give credit to the person. So whatever you see, combine, transfer, substitute, whatever you see, brain does all of that in order to find some kind of a solution. Our subconscious actually is much more capable, much more powerful than we think. Our conscious brain is just like a RAM of the computer. You want something from subconscious, the operating system will be loaded in the RAM. And you think that our conscious brain is everything, but everything is held in the subconscious. It's ocean of knowledge. So again, coming back to my first slide, you have to go out and you have to spot problem among people. That becomes a compelling reason for you to find a solution, because people are crying for it. So solutions are always in the problem. I have already told some of these stories, like, for example, this guy, Sabir Bhatia, he is the creator of Hotmail. Many of us do not know. And it was by accident. They were communicating among the co-workers from home using the company server. Then the company server admins told them that company server cannot be connected from outside. So they thought, okay, let us make one of our computer as a server and communicate among ourselves. Soon they realize that if we can communicate using our computer as a server, we can offer this server to the entire world, and then they can communicate emails through emails. That is how email was born by an Indian. Similarly, there are many, many stories about it. I'm running short of time, so I'll not go into all of that. Why innovation is important for startup? You might think that there are so many things I can do. Why innovation should be important? This is a piece of information that will tell you beyond doubt how important innovation is. If anybody joins Facebook, they will give them a red book known as Facebook's Little Red Book. In one page it is written, if we don't create the thing that can kill Facebook, someone else will. Meaning that every competitor in the marketplace and many other people are continuously, tirelessly trying to create something that can kill Facebook, and they can be successful. If we cannot create that before them, they will create and they will kill Facebook. So that is the kind of competition that every big companies, not only big companies, but even every small company is also facing. So you talk to any big company, they will tell you that we can't sleep in the night because we think tomorrow morning when I'll open the newspaper, there will be a story that some startup is doing something that is going to kill our business. That is that drives the value or the construct that innovation is the most important element in the success of startups. So you have to continuously try to innovate both technologically or design wise to bring something that will define competitive edge of your company, that will give customer a reason to remain loyal to your company. It's 6:17. So I think you have been listening me for quite a long time. Do you like a break? It's more than an hour.
No, sir, but can we ask some questions if that's okay with you? So this is Nishant.
Yeah, I'll take the question after a while, little while. Let me finish in that case.
Sure,
Let me
sure.
let me finish my lecture, maybe. Okay, so now suppose I'll finish quickly because I see only 30 participants, which is kind of unexpectedly low. So I'll not take too much time to take too much labor. Now, suppose you have the idea, you would like to move ahead. How to move ahead? So I have already mentioned that you have to build a prototype, that you have to follow lean startup philosophies. It means this something like a formula or theory or something like a tool. But if you are not going to follow this, you are going to unnecessarily waste a lot of resources, unnecessarily be delayed. You are going to suffer from many things. So you need to understand what is the philosophy, what are the philosophies of lean startups, and then how you're going to make your product development exercises efficient. You can use your resources most efficiently. So try to understand this. Lean startup is a combination of two philosophies. One is agile product development process. Another is lean product development process. Agile process tells you first lean startup, lean product development process. Lean process tells us that you should reduce anything that you can reduce. First thing, if you can reduce time, try to reduce that, do things fast. If you can reduce cost, if there is any possibility of reduced cost, you should consciously try to reduce. Then if there is any component, any feature of your product that customers are not appreciating, or customers, the absence of the feature will not create some kind of lower value perception for the customer, then you should eliminate. I perhaps told you that suppose you are manufacturing a pen and there is a sticker on the pen. Now that sticker is an authentication symbol or whatever. Now that costs you 10 paisa. You ask the customer that if I remove this sticker, will you mind? Will you think that there is less value to this pen? If the customer tells you that I don't care about it, I never saw that, then immediately you should remove that so that you can save that 10 paisa, number one. Number two, not only 10 paisa of the cost, fixing also requires cost, and then you can pass on that value to the customer. You can reduce the price of the pen by 10 paisa or whatever. Meaning if there is any possibility of reducing a feature or element of your product, you should reduce. Whatever can be reduced, you should reduce. You should reduce wastage. You should do it fast, like water in bulk, so that you get a concession or something. So everything together is lean philosophy. Lean philosophy also tells you that you should charge early, meaning even if you have a minimum viable prototype that does some purpose, you can tell a customer, sir, this is my minimum viable product. It doesn't look nice, but if you want to have it, I can give you for maybe 25% of the value cost. So even if your cost is say 100 rupees, you can tell him that my cost is 100 rupees, but I will still give you at 25 rupees. So if the customer is ready to buy for 25 rupees, this is a great validation, but at least that at least one feature of your product is good for which somebody is paying me 25 rupees. So first of all, it's an unbiased validation. Second of all, 25 rupees comes to your pocket. So that's the cash flow. So you can use that 25 rupees and invest in your next prototype. So you should always try to ensure cash flow as early as possible. That is another feature of lean startup. What is Agile? Agile says, Agile came from software development. Agile says that you should not build a complete product. You should always build part of the product, like a minimum viable prototype. Then you should onboard customer, give it to customer, let them use it. Look at them. Are they smiling? Are they happy or not? If they're not, using which feature they smile and which feature they don't. What do they say? Don't just go by what do they say. Go by, look at them, and then try to understand their feelings. If for something their feeling is good, note it down. Try to accentuate that. If not, if they are sad with something, you try to modify that, improve that, etc., etc. This is known as validate. Uh, build, measure, and learn feedback loop cycle. Build, measure, learn food. Build means, first of all, you build the product, then you measure, meaning you take it to the customers, measure their level of satisfaction, measure the completeness of the product. Then based on that data, based on that feedback, you learn a lot of things as to how the product should be moving forward. Then you redefine to come up with new ideas, then rebuild the minimum viable prototype, then move ahead. These are the features of lean startup. I'll move ahead fast. I was talking about minimum viable product. I was talking about hypothesis, leap of faith. Very quickly, I'll talk about it. This is an example. Nick Swinmurn, he started Jappos, which is an online shoe selling company. When he pitched that before friends, they said nobody will buy shoes without trial. So why people will buy shoe online? There is no reason. But Nick thought there is every reason for people to buy shoes because I am going to show them 1000 models. They can search all those models online. So there is because a customer can visit 10 shops to see all the models because there are 10 brands. It's physically not humanly not possible. Even if they visit 10 shops, they will fail to visit the 15th shop, 20th shop. So they will not have the entire paradigm of the possible availability of the shoes in different shops that I can do online, meaning I can have pictures taken of all the shoes and then demonstrate in a computer screen. People will come to know about all the possible models, then they will choose. So that was his hypothesis that people will actually buy online shoes. But then he came up with a design. What was his design? First of all, he wanted to validate. So he designed a minimum viable prototype. How did they do it? How did he do it? He made photographs of many good looking shoes. He took those photographs to companies and he told them that whatever shoes you choose, I will send it to your door. And then you can choose only one pair. I'll take back the other pairs at my cost. There is no cost on you. Number one. Number two, he built another model. That is, of course, I already told that, meaning rather than giving one pair of shoe, he started selling multiple shoes. And many things happened actually. He gave the option to choose number of shoes. So customers chose 3-4 pairs. He packed 3-4 pairs and sent it to the customers at the beginning. So many customers kept more than one pair. And some actually chose only one pair and returned the others. In the process, his hypothesis was tested that people are interested to browse through all those shoes and select a better one. And his leap of faith was that people will actually visit internet and then buy shoes online. But then when you build those products, try to be mindful about the level of products. This is not a grammatically right classification, some kind of an impression. NASA actually came up with the idea that the level of level of maturity of a product can be graded into 9 different levels. The readiness of technology for going to market. If a technology is just ready to go to market, that is the last level, TRL 9, technology readiness level 9. And if something is at a very idea stage, or maybe you just have a problem definition, then that is level number 1. This is good. When you are pitching your idea before investor, they'll say, where are you, at TRL 7 or TRL 4? You say, I'm TRL 8. They will say, no, we think you are at TRL 2, something like that. So to numerically depict the level of your maturity of the technology, this has been adopted by almost everybody. So we should know at what level we are now. Here is an example of all these lean startup philosophies. There is something called drip irrigation for micro irrigation. Drip irrigation is a technology from Israel. You look at these black 3 components. These 3 components are required to make a dripper for water to be dropped at the root zone of a plant. You need these 3 components. They cost something like 5 rupees to 15 rupees. It's not very popular in India because of the cost. Because in a piece of land, you need maybe thousands of them. So if it requires 10,000 and if one costs 10 rupees, it will be a lakh rupees or so. And that is why it's not so popular. So myself and Professor Kane Theory of Agriculture, we came up with, looking at this, we thought that there should be an easier solution. That was our leap of faith, or eventually we hypothesized that a single component drip emitter can definitely be possible. We started designing, and then finally we came up with this design using 3D printed component. So it's a process of validation. Is maybe the second or third round of validation, and look at that, how it is operating. It's operating perfectly well. It is releasing water drop by drop with a single component. And once we have this validation, we went ahead and manufactured this molded components. And now we have a mold, and we are talking to companies for transfer of technologies. Second thing that you will encounter on your way moving forward is the kind of customers. There are customers who are innovator kind. They are interested about, they are excited about new products. So if you are manufacturing new products, they are the people who do not care about aesthetics or anything. They want to just, grab the product and flaunt before others that, look, I have the new product, and they do experiment. They give you good feedback, even if the aesthetics are not good. When you are building a product, never ever try to build a 100% accurate or 100% complete product. That will come after a long time. So for that, you need to understand Pareto 80-20 rule, which says that if you are accurate up to 80%, you have actually invested 20% of the money that is necessary for building this product completely, 100%. You have spent only 20% of the money. By spending 20% of the money, you have built an 80% correct product. It is the time to go to market, and gradually you improve the product, refine the product based on feedback that you will receive. So this is the time when innovator kind of customers are necessary. They don't bothered about aesthetics. So they will be forgiving about many features which are not good. Now you take feedback and you try to develop from 80%, you move to 85%. Then you acquire early adopters who are slightly less forgiving. But now you have an 85% accurate product. So they will also now adopt this product. You will acquire the second 13.5% of the customers, some part of them. But next, moving forward, is early majority customers who constitute 34% of the entire customer base for any product in any segment. Statistically, now these people want perfect product, complete product. They are less forgiving. So by this time, you have 95% accurate product. So the next 5% will be okay for them. They will be forgiving after that. So now is the time when you complete your 100% building of the product, so that the late majority who are absolutely not forgiving at all, they want a complete product. Anything going kaput will not be forgiven by them. So now you have that kind of a product, so you can acquire them. Not only that, you can now add more features so that even innovator kind of customers find something to look for in your new product. So again, the new trajectory will start and you will make good products. Okay, 6:30. I'll take maybe 10 minutes more. I do have a lot of slides. I'll finish it before. Now, why startup fails so frequently and why the number is kind of so menacing that most of the people become afraid to start a startup. The one major reason is that they run out of cash. First thing is they run out of cash. 38% of the startup fail because they run out of cash. Second is they make something that customers do not like. So they did not do the validated learning process. They did not go through the validated learning. And that is why when they went to the market, they realized customers are not interested in this product. 35% of the startup failed because of this. So let us see why customers run out of money, the first reason, and how to overcome that. I'll finish with this. I have many more slides, but I'll finish with this slide. And this is a piece of knowledge that everybody should take home. How can you ensure that startups do not run out of money without much knowledge about financial statements? If I have to teach you financial statements, those who are not exposed to this, that will take at least 10 lectures. But within 10 minutes, I am going to tell you something using which you can actually have a firm grip on financials and you will make sure that your company will not run out of money. At least you will know in advance whether you are running out of money moving forward so that you can raise money in time. OK, the first thing is, and what do you want to, what information is necessary for that? Only one single information is necessary for having a perfect grip on the financial, and that is the net working capital on a daily basis or weekly basis, or net value of the current assets. That is the last one, last row of this slide. How do you estimate that? You use only Excel sheet. You don't have to make an app or anything. Just use an Excel sheet. Today early in the morning, or today while going home, or today when you go to bed, you tell your people that at the end of the day, you should send me on these data. Send me data on this. One is what is the raw material stock at the end of the day? That should be automatically available because whenever you issue raw material, your software gets updated automatically. Then goods in process, meaning what are the value of the goods that are under process of manufacturing at the shop floor. Finished goods, whatever the cost price, what is the value of finished goods, you take a valuation that also will be done automatically. Then you add receivables, meaning the goods that you have already manufactured and sold. It has risk to the distributors go down, or maybe a stockist go down, or maybe retailers go down. But it has left your premises. So you have raised an invoice and now you are showing that as receivables. These are total current assets under your possession. And then whatever bank loan, if the bank loan has gone up, that means bank has given you more money, so you have to deduct that. If the loan has gone down, that means you have used some of your money to repay the bank loan, so you have to add that. I have not considered bank loan because startups normally don't go for debt. Then if there are payables, meaning if any suppliers have supplied goods to you and you are yet to make payment, they remain in your books of accounts as payable or accounts payable or things like that. So they have supplied you goods, but you are yet to make payment. That means you're doing business with their money. So whatever value of this raw material, goods in process, finished goods, receivable, whatever the value that you find in them, part of that has been funded by payables, by suppliers. So you have to deduct that. So subtotal is 675. You deduct 130, you get 545. On a daily basis, you will have this data. And on a daily basis, you plot that data here. You find that you look at this green chart, green line. every day, suppose this is weekly data, on every week, the total value of the net working capital is going up, up and up and up. This is maybe 12th week, it has gone up. That means you're actually making profit every week. Alternately, suppose the black line or the blue line is the actual line. Every day it is actually going little down. If you do not plot it, or if you do not take stock of on a weekly basis, this data means you will not realize that every week you're actually losing cash. And if you move like that, if you move like that, very soon you're going to run out of money. And then whenever your cash position is negative, the day the cash position is negative, you have to shut down the business. There is no alternative to move forward. That's a failure time. But if you do this on a weekly basis, you will know how the line is moving. You draw a trend line and you will have a fair idea when you will run out of cash if you extrapolate that line. So you will never run out of cash. You will arrange cash much before that. So the reason one for which 38% of the startup fails, you will not run. I wanted to talk about the major mistakes and things like that, but some other day. Thank you very much. And now is the time for question.
So this is Nishant here.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So my first question is regarding the innovation process. Sir, you mentioned that intense competition between firms, it spurs innovation because people want to be ahead of the competition.
Right.
So, sir, is it true that the psychology of innovation works under pressure, or is it that the mind should be completely free from all sides? Because that is when the ideas flow in, sir. Because generally under pressure, we trying to be lean. We tend to cut out those signals which are not value to us. But for an innovation to happen,
okay,
we
I
need
get
to
your
have.
point. I get your point. See, there can be point both for and against, but I will remain against. I'm convicted about that. You know what? From where maximum innovation has emerged so far, it is from the defense. You name any modern technology, you will find that they emerged out of defense research and development at a time when there was existential crisis. When humanity, anybody has existential crisis, they tend to be innovative and they come up with some solution that prevent them from getting extinct. And that is how society has developed so far. And I don't think there are difference of opinion on this. Anybody who is under duress, under extreme challenge. Now this challenge should be, means the solution and the challenge should be correlated. Suppose you are depressed because of a personal problem, a very different personal problem, maybe emotional problem with your girlfriend. Now you are trying to innovate on, say, to find some monkey virus or something. Your attention will be diverted. But suppose somebody is actually suffering from this disease and he's trying to find a vaccine or a treatment. He or she will be able to give the maximum attention and will be most creative under this situation. So the pressure should not be external pressure, should not be extraneous pressure. Pressure should be to come up with a solution. Only then it will work. Not really other pressure.
Thank you, sir. My second question, sir, can't the payables be directly deducted from the raw material stock?
Come again?
Because, sir, my second question is regarding the net current value of the assets.
Yes.
That slide which you showed to us.
Yes, yes.
My question is, sir, that there are payables which we are deducting at the end. Can't they be deducted directly from the raw material stock? Because I think most of the suppliers.
That will not make any difference. So unnecessarily means the total current asset also is a data that may be necessary for many things like, say, for current ratio and on that. So we need that data. So that is why we don't deduct it at the beginning. We deduct it at the end. Before that, we estimate the total current asset.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay. Any other question? would not elicit much interest.
So I think one Aishik Das is asking one question, I think.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
It's in the chat box.
It's in the chat box. Okay, just a
Yeah, so
second.
it's in the chat box, and I'll just echo his question. The question is, why is Zomato failing, at least in the stock market, even though they are providing a crucial service? That is the
Yes, a
question.
very good question. Actually, see, whatever is happening in the startup domain, uh, startup domain is a different market. Stock market is a different market. Stock market is uh, is driven by some fundamental metrics which are related to fundamentals. Particularly, profit is one of the fundamentals. Dividend is another metric. Then uh, profit is translated into earning per share. So there are metrics which investors track and then make decision. They have even apps in their system which gives them purchase decisions. But startup works with a different philosophy. Startup works with the philosophy of valuation, higher valuation, and acquiring more number of customers. It's almost like a networking kind of business, like Amazon. You acquire more customer. That looking at that, more vendors will come to your platform. Looking at more vendors, customers will get more options, so more customer will come. So it's a kind of a uh, uh, cascading effect. So more customer comes. In case of Zomato, they are yet to be, means they are already popular in some places, but it's a volume game. The more people they will acquire, the more customers they will acquire, they will become profitable at some point of time. As I said, Amazon became profitable after 10 years. So Zomato also will become profitable maybe after say 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years. But then investors in the stock market are not sitting with risk capital. Whereas in startup parlance, startup funding domain, people like angels, even VCs are also, they have risk capital, meaning they have the capability to absorb risk and they can wait for a long time. In the stock market, people want to buy share and then sell it tomorrow, day after, or maybe after the quarterly results. Most of the people expect, the small investor, they invest in a company expecting that next quarter result will be better and the price will go up and I'll sell. Whereas in case of Zomato, this may not happen in the next quarter, quarter after. In case of even Paytm, they incurred larger loss during this quarter ended March, than quarter ended December. So that is why there was no positive impact of result on Paytm shares. In fact, if the market goes down, these shares will go down faster compared to other shares, because fundamentally means their fundamental financials are not as strong. The companies whose fundamental financials are strong, like say ITC, Hindustan Unilever, Procter and Gamble, their fundamentals are very strong. Even during downtrend, their share price will not go down because people don't want to sell the shares. They want to hold on, expecting that next quarter result will be good and the share price will bounce back. So the miss in one sentence, the difference between startup market and stock market is very different. Stock market is less risk appetite. Means people have less risk appetite. In a startup, they have more risk appetite. That is why valuation is high. So that is the reason. And when they came to the market, even I felt that valuation is sky high and it's very artificial. And even in startup domain also, you will realize very soon that it was inflated. It's like a balloon and it's going to burst. And if Zomato remains in the business, if Paytm remains in the business, they can sustain moving forward. You will find that they will create tremendous value because the business model per se is not faulty. Okay, so if there is no other question, then we'll call it a day. Did I answer?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. So this is Akshit and I have a question, sir. Say I have identified a problem. So should I look for a team first or should I go about on my own to solve it first?
Okay, again, there is no hard and fast rule that you should do this, but there are many considerations for doing this. Number one, can you really move ahead a little bit build a something, whatever that is. Suppose it's a kind of an app. Can you at least build a okay, what is that? Line drawing of the app so that logically you can show people that if you click here, then something like this happens. The more value you can create, the better. Now, then you will be able to convince the friends that there is value proposition and they can come in. Otherwise, you will get frustrated. You will talk to many people. They will think that they will not get the kind of kick that you have. So they may not come in, and you may feel, not only you may feel frustrated, you may lose confidence in you. Like they may say that I don't think there is any value in that. Whereas if you make some progress, if you can see some value, then they will also appreciate the value. It will be better. Then there are other consideration, like say if you rope in people, then the expectation will be more and your cost may go up. Suppose you hire some people, they're not co-founders, but you hire them paying whatever possible money. So you're going to pay some money. If you give some equity also, that is going to cost you something. Number one. Number two, suppose you bring the friends after 6 months. And at the end of 6 months, you have built some authority on this idea and you talk to your friends. Suppose there are other two friends who would like to join as co-founder. Now, if you tell them that I want to have 50%, you take 25-25. Now they will agree because you have a proven model. But at the beginning, if it is just an idea, you ask, would you join? They will say that, OK, 33, all three of us will join. So there's no hard and fast rule. It depends on the complexity. If it is very complex, then you would like to have more people talking to you and then come up with something proven. And if the need of the speed is very high. Now, suppose you are trying to build something and you are afraid that if you delay, then many other people will come up with similar ideas and you don't want to delay. Then it is the right time to rope in people and then move fast. So these are consideration. Depending on context, you have to make a decision. Did I answer?
Yes, sir, sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Uh,
Actually,
so,
I'm trying to be fast.
Sorry to prolong the discussion. I have a very small question.
Yeah,
If you
please go
have a
ahead.
little more time. Yes, sir. So, what would be the difference in approach for building something as a service and building something as a product?
Okay, building service as something as a service and as a product. Product, actually building a product is a different ballgame altogether.
Right.
And the life cycle of building a product is longer compared to building a service. Even service also building means if the service is a complex service, suppose you want to offer software as a service, you want to offer it as a platform, then building that platform will become quite tedious. Like say Shopify offers a platform. And by the time Shopify was ready with the platform, they started acquiring customer. They realized that their competitors like Amazon, Flipkart, they are also offering a platform for all the vendors, and vendors will prefer their platform compared to Shopify because they offer other opportunities. They offer market visibility, what Shopify does not, because Shopify is a platform. Normally, ordinarily, people don't go to Shopify to buy things. So Shopify started offering some services like say payment service. Shopify, initially they did not offer this payment service like the digital wallet or anything. If you wanted to buy something, or if some vendor wants to offer a wallet for online transaction, then they have to take service from some other digital wallet company. But now Shopify has started giving this service so that the vendors don't desert them. Vendors don't go to other platform. So it's kind of getting diversified. They are getting diversified, and it can be shown. I actually had a slide on them. It can be shown that with the diversification of services to their customers are not individual customers. Their customers are vendors who are selling goods. So with the diversification of services given to the vendors, they could attract more customers, they could retain more customers. Customers are means increasing number of customers are remaining in Shopify. So coming back to your question, it depends on the complexity of your app. Like suppose you want to build something which can be say a messenger app. Even messenger was attached to Facebook Messenger, but then they stopped offering that. Now all messaging operation is done by WhatsApp, or maybe there is another independent messenger app. I'm not very sure. So suppose you are building a messenger app which is much simpler compared to any other social media app. Now that will be simpler compared to if you have a complete social network or say Shopify kind of a platform or any other software as a service offering. You can build that app and sell it to some company who has many other app integrated in a big software. They are offering software as a service. So they just you just bundle this also along with many other services. That becomes very simple. So here that the core distinction, core difference between manufacturing and this is the risk. Number one is the risk. You have very little risk involved because experimenting will not involve a lot of capital cost. You just have your laptop, which you already have in any case. Whereas building a product, a solid product, you need to build a prototype. It requires a lot of money, and building a software, you don't need a lot of iterations because you can do a minimum viable prototype, a क्या बोलते हैं उसको wire drawing kind of a thing. That is the first minimum viable prototype. It doesn't require much money. You can do it. There are softwares available. You can do that wire drawing, and then the minimum viable prototype is ready. You can demonstrate before somebody. This is not possible for a hardware product. Even for hardware in electronics or computer, it's very difficult to build. And the timeline, the life cycle of hardware product is so long that by the time you will come up with a finished product, a complete product, there will be many more product in the marketplace. You will never be able to go to market. That is why you don't see many hardware startup in the market. Hardware companies are all like IBM's, Intel, and companies like that. There is hardly any hardware company in the world in the anywhere, not even in US. There are some like in drone, in many other things, but then there are very few and they are failing. They're mostly failing because of that, because the life cycle is very long and the money required is very high. That means that everything together can be bundled into one single word, and that is risk. The risk perception for building a hardware product is many times more compared to that for building a software product. This discussion can be very long. Means the more I will think, I'll come up with more ideas, but let us close it here. Close this particular question answer here.
Yes.
If you are satisfied, fine. If you are not, we'll discuss that later. You can connect me offline. If there's any other question, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Most welcome.
So just a request, sir, can you please share the trimmed slide deck with us?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. But how to do that? Meaning how to get all your email address? I'll give it to Professor Bandapadhyay and he will share.
Yes,
He
you
has
can,
all the email
you can
addresses.
share with me the drive link. If not the PPT itself, I can share it with everyone.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Welcome.
All right. So it was quite a riveting workshop. I think there were some good questions and a lot of thought-invoking things that you have shown us. And I think we can have such kinds of workshops. Let's see. I mean, it would be better if we can do it in person when the semester starts, maybe. So all along, I thank the speaker, Professor Mondal, once again. The program has been undertaken through the MNFIC, and expect some more programs, slightly more technical in the sense of engineering, but we will have appropriate workshops on entrepreneurship as well. So thank you all very much and have a very good evening. I'll see you all once again.
Thank you for having me
next
here.
time.
Thank you all the audience.
Thank you all
For patient hearing. I hope that I did not bore you.
No, it was quite interesting.
Thank you.
All right, then I'm going to close this particular meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you,
Bye
sir.
bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.